Hi, good morning everybody. In last class we discussed something related to water scarcity. Okay, what are the main reason behind it? Here is we exploited the water resources. That is the one reason, and also for maintaining the irrigational purpose that is affected the storage of groundwater and so on. Then now the continuation for the previous topic. Look at textbook. Post-independent India witnessed intensive industrialization and urbanization. The post-independent India, that means after independence, what happened here? Here is started industry. That means India witnessed intensive industrialization. What do you mean by intensive? T from R. Okay, intensive industrialization and urbanization. Here industry started, it caused urbanization. It creating vast opportunity for us. What created? Urbanization and industrialization. Today, large industrial houses are as the commonplace as the industrial units of many MNCs. MNCs means multinational corporations. The ever-increasing number of industries has made matters worse by exerting pressure on existing freshwater resources. Listen, post-independent India witnessed intensive industrialization and urbanization. It creating vast opportunities for us. Today, large industrial houses are as commonplace as the industrial unit of many MNCs. Here is the industrial unit of MNCs. That means the multinational companies or multinational corporations. The ever-increasing number of the industries has made matters worse by exerting pressure on existing freshwater resources. It exerting pressure. It apply the pressure on the existing river water. Industry developed automatically, the use of water also increased. It is affected our fresh water. Okay, listen. Then industries, apart from being heavy users of water, also require power to run them. Much of this energy comes from hydroelectric power. Then here is industry. For running industry, here is mainly used water, energy, etc. Water and energy, the starting time we mainly used hydro energy. Okay, hydro energy speciality, we make energy from water. Okay, now the excessive use of water, it is affected water. It created a problem, that is the scarcity of water or a shortage of water. But that is the another reason. Today in India, hydroelectric power contributes approximately 22% of total electricity produced. Approximately means nearly. How much? 22%. Moreover, multiplying urban centers with large and dense populations and urban lifestyles have not only added to water and energy requirements but have further aggravated the problem. If you look into the housing societies or colonies in the cities, you would find that most of these have their own groundwater pumping devices to meet their water needs. Okay, the city people, that is mainly used the groundwater. There is some pumps that use and recklessly they use the water. The usage of water increased, but that also caused water scarcity. Then you would find that most of these have their own groundwater pumping devices to meet their water needs. Not surprisingly, we find that fragile water resources are being overexploited and have caused their depletion in several of these cities. Okay, listen, it caused the overexploitation of water, it caused the depletion of water sources. It caused the ruin of water sources. So far, we have focused on the quantitative aspect of water scarcity. Now, let us consider another situation where water is sufficiently available to meet the needs of the people. Okay, here we discussed something. What are the main reasons behind the shortage of water? Here is many problem arises. The shortage of water. We discussed that. Then we want to avoid this problem. Then here the scarcity may be due to bad quality of water. Lately, there has been a growing concern that even if there is ample water to meet the needs of the people, much of it may be polluted by domestic and industrial waste, chemicals, pesticides and fertilizers used in agriculture, thus making it hazardous for human use. Listen, the availability of fresh water decreases. What is the after effect of that? It is affected our life. Okay, listen, we want to use the this type of water. It is not suitable for the human use, but we have no other choice. On that occasion, we depend upon this type of water. Which type of water? There is a mixing of polluted water, polluted by domestic and industrial waste, polluted by domestic and industrial waste, then chemicals, then pesticides, and fertilizers, and used in agriculture, thus making it hazardous for human use. It is making hazardous. Hazardous means dangerous for human use. India's rivers, especially the smaller ones, have all turned into toxic streams. India's rivers, now that is the toxic streams. Toxic means poisonous. Okay, now that is changed. That is the poisonous streams. And even the big ones like the Ganga and Yamuna are far from being pure. The assault on India's rivers from population growth, agricultural modernization, urbanization and industrialization is enormous and growing by the day. This entire life stands threatened. Listen, growing of urbanization, modernization, industrialization. These are the main enemies of the water. That is it created. Here is a shortage of water, or here toxic streams arises. Toxic streams arise. What is the reason behind it? Because industrialization, urbanization, and also modernization. These are the main things. Okay. You may have already realized that the need of the hour is to conserve and manage our water resources, to safeguard ourselves from health hazards, to ensure food security. We want to conserve our health from health hazards, to safeguard ourselves, continuation of our livelihood and productive activities, and also to prevent the degradation of our natural ecosystem. We want to prevent the degradation of our natural ecosystem. We want to protect this, otherwise it is affected our life. Overexploitation and mismanagement of water resources will impoverish these resources and cause ecological crisis that may have profound impact on our lives. over exploitation and mismanagement of water resources will impoverish these resources and cause the ecological crisis that may have profound impact on our lives. It is affected our lives. No? Shortage of water, that is a big problem. We want to solve the shortage of water. We want to conserve our water resources. Otherwise, we can't do anything. Okay. The next one, multi-purpose river project and integrated water resource management. Multi-purpose river project. That is the next topic. Okay, multi-purpose river projects and integrated water resource management. It is the another topic. Multi-purpose. What is the meaning of multi-purpose? More than one. Purpose means aim or objective. More than one objective. That is here multi-purpose. Okay, but how do we conserve and manage water? We want to conserve our water. We want to manage our water resources. How? Here is one question to answer. How we conserve our water or how we manage our water? Archaeological and historical records show that from ancient times we have been constructing sophisticated hydraulic structures like dams built of stone rubble, reservoirs or lakes, embankments and canals for irrigation. Not surprisingly, we have continued this tradition in modern India by building dams in most of our rivers. Archaeological and historical records. Okay, we know that here is two types of records, archaeological and literary records. You already studied in junior classes. Okay, here is archaeological and historical records tell us something, or that shows that from ancient times we have been constructing sophisticated hydraulic structures. What do you mean by sophisticated? ലാളിത്യം നഷ്ടപ്പെട്ടു, പ്രകൃതി ലാളിത്യം നഷ്ടപ്പെട്ടു, അതിൻ്റെ തനതായ രൂപങ്ങൾ നഷ്ടപ്പെട്ടു. ഓക്കെ, ഈ സ്ട്രക്ചർ ബിൽഡ് ഫോർ സ്ട്രോങ്. Okay, listen. The sophisticated, that means how we close the natural speciality. Okay. Then sophisticated hydraulic structures. What are included in the sophisticated hydraulical structure? Dams, then embankments. Okay, these are included. Listen. The sophisticated hydraulic structures like dams built of stone rubble. Dams built of stone rubble used. Then reservoir or lake, jala sambarani, that we call reservoir. Then lakes, embankments and canals for irrigation. Not surprisingly, we have continued this tradition in modern India by building dams in most of our river basin. Listen. Not surprisingly, now also we continue this. Now also here is a reservoir. Now also here is dams. Now also here is lakes. Okay. Then we want to discuss something. Hydrological structures in ancient India. Okay. Hydrological structure speciality. The structures are built for storing water. Water store ചെയ്യുന്നതിന് വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് നമ്മൾ ബിൽഡപ്പ് ചെയ്യുന്നതാണ് hydrological structures. That's a speciality. Okay. In the 1st century BC, Sringaverapuram near Allahabad had sophisticated water harvesting system channeling the flood water of the river Ganga. In the 1st century BC, Sringaverapuram near Allahabad had sophisticated water harvesting system. Harvesting system means collecting system. Okay, water harvesting system. Then channeling the flood water of the river Ganga. During the time of Chandragupta Maurya, these are the examples here. Okay, during the time of Chandragupta Maurya, dams, lakes and irrigation system were extensively built. On that time also, here they built dams. Evidences of sophisticated irrigation works have also been found in Kalinga, that is in Odisha. Then Nagarjunakonda, that is in Andhra Pradesh. Then Bennur, that is in Karnataka. Kolhapur, that is in Maharashtra. But there also construct the sophisticated hydrological structures. Sophisticated hydraulic structures. Okay. Then in the 11th century, Bhopal Lake, one of the largest artificial lake of its time, was built. Underline that. Which is the largest artificial lake? Bhopal Lake. When it was built, 11th century. In the 14th century, the tank in Hoskas, Delhi, was constructed by Iltutmish for supplying water to Siri Fort area. 14th century, on that time, the tank in Hoskas, it is in Delhi, it was constructed by which ruler? Iltutmish. For what purpose he constructed this? For supplying water to Siri Fort area. Siri Fort area water distribute ചെയ്യുന്നതിന് he built this dam. Okay. Then, what are dams and how do they help us in conserving and managing river? Listen, here we discussed something, that is the hydraulic structures in ancient India. From ancient times, dams built here. Then, what are dams and how do they help us in conserving and managing water? Dams were traditionally built to impound rivers and rainwater that would be used later to irrigate agricultural fields. Dams were traditionally built to impound water. What do you mean by impound? Here is impound rivers. Alright, here is immense water. Impound river, that means alavilla. Impound rivers and rainwater that would be used later to irrigate agricultural fields. Later they used this water for agricultural purpose. For maintaining the irrigational purpose, they used this river water. Today, dams are built not just for irrigation but for electricity generation. Today, dams built not only for the irrigation purpose. Ancient time, the initial stage, it was constructed. There only one purpose, to maintaining irrigational purpose. But now that is changed. Not only for the irrigational purposes, then, but for electricity generation. Not only for irrigation purpose, but for electricity generation, water supply for domestic and industrial users, flood control, recreation, inland navigation and fish breeding. These are the other uses of conserving water. That's why it is called a multi-purpose river valley project. Is it clear? What is the reason behind it? It is called multi-purpose river valley project. Because it have more than one purpose. What are the purposes? Irrigation purpose, then making electricity, then domestic use and industrial use, then flood control, recreation, inland navigation and fish breeding. Okay, underline that. Hence, dams are now referred to as multi-purpose projects. That's why now it's called multi-purpose projects, where the many uses of the impounded water are integrated with one another. For example, in the Satluj river basin, the Bakranangal project water is being used both for hydro power production and irrigation. Here is the example. What are the example? The Satluj river basin, okay? Then Bakranangal project water is being used both for hydro power production and irrigation. Here is water used for two purposes there. One is making electricity, other is the satisfying irrigational purposes. Okay. Similarly, the Hirakud project in the Mahanadi basin integrate conservation of water with flood control. Okay, flood control. And also here is a make dams. That is why dams called multi-purpose river valley projects. Is it clear? Okay. Then here one extract. All of you look at textbook. A dam is a barrier across flowing water that obstructs, directs or retards the flow, often creating a reservoir, lake or impoundment. A dam is a barrier across flowing water. It is a barrier. What do you mean by barrier? Obstacle, tadasam. Across the flowing water that obstructs, that obstructs, directs or retards the flow, often creating a reservoir, lake or impoundment. Dam refers to the reservoir rather than the structure. Underline that. Dam refers to the reservoir rather than the structure. Most dams have a section called a spillway. Okay, listen. Most dams have a section called a spillway or wherever which or through which it is intended that water will flow either intermittently or continuously. Water may flow either intermittently. In the intermittently occurred intervally. Okay. Occurred interval അല്ലെങ്കിൽ കണ്ടിന്യൂസ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ തുടർച്ചയായിട്ട് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇടയ്ക്കിടെയായിട്ട്. Dams are classified according to structure. We can classify the dams. On what basis we can classify the dams? On the basis of structure we can classify the dams. And also intended purpose. Structure based classify ചെയ്യാം. Then intended purpose. Objective based classify ചെയ്യാം or aim based classify ചെയ്യാം. Then dams are classified according to structure, intended purpose or height based classification. Based on structure and the materials used. Then we can classify the based on structure and what are the materials used there. And timber dams, embankment dams or masonry dams with several subtypes. According to the height, dams can be categorized as the large dam and major dams or alternatively as low dam, medium height dam and height dam. Underline that. Listen. Dams are classified according to structure. Then or intended purpose or height. We can classify the structure based on height in the based on purpose based on classification. Then based on structure And the materials used, dams are classified as, how can we classify? Timber dams, embankment dams, masonry dams with several subtypes. Timber dams, then masonry dams, embankment dams. Okay, masonry means kalpan, you see it. Then, according to the height, dams can be categorized as large dams. Firstly, we discussed we can classify the dams on the basis of structure. On the basis of structure or on the basis, what are the materials used, we can classify. Here is timber dams, embankment dams, masonry dams. What are the dams? Timber dams. Next, embankment dams. Next one is the masonry dams. Okay, masonry dams. Then, according to the height, dams can be categorized as large dams, major dams, or alternatively as low dam, medium height dam, and high dam. Okay, listen. Large dam, low dam, medium height dam, higher height dam. Okay, we can classify on the basis of height. We can classify on the basis of materials. We can classify on the basis of structure. But here is different types of dams. Okay. Then, multi-purpose project launched after independence with their integrated water resource management approach were through of as the vehicle that would lead the nation to develop and progress. Listen, multi-purpose project. Here, dams speciality more than one purpose. That's why it is called multi-purpose project. It launched after independence with their integrated water resources management approach were thought of as the vehicle that would lead the nation of the development and progress. It will lead or the national development and progress. Overcoming the handicap of colonial past. Under colonial rule, we suffered a lot. After independence, we can earn something with the help of this hydraulic structure. Jawaharlal Nehru proudly proclaimed the dams as the temples of modern India. Underline. Who proclaimed the dams as the temples of modern India? Jawaharlal Nehru. Then, the reason being that it would integrate the development of agriculture and the village economy with the rapid industrialization and the growth of the urban economy. What was Nehru's assumption about multi-purpose project? What was Nehru's assumption about multi-purpose project? Underline that. What is that? It would integrate the development of agriculture and the village economy. It would integrate the development of agriculture and village economy. Then, with the rapid industrialization and growth of the urban economy. Growth of urban economy, a sudden industrialization. That's why Nehru called dams are the temples of modern India. Okay. And today we discussed multi-purpose river valley project. It is not completed. Okay, more details we want to discuss, but now we already discussed some important matters. What is the use of dam? For what purpose here is the dams built up? How can we classify the dams? On what basis can we classify the dams? Many more things. Then lastly we discuss what is the reason behind it. Nehru called dams are the temples of modern India. That also. Okay. All of you want to read this book very carefully, to be continued on next class. Thank you.